Sizing requirements for grounding conductors in the Canadian Electrical Code, CEC, CSAC, 22.1 to 24 2024 edition. As adopted in Ontario via the Ontario Electrical Safety Code, OESC, 29th edition effective May 2025. Are detailed primarily in Section 10, Grounding and Bonding. These ensure grounding conductors can safely carry fault currents without excessive impedance or mechanical failure, facilitating overcurrent device operation and shock protection. Requirements differ by conductor type: grounding electrode conductor GIC, system bonding jumper conductor, equipment bonding conductor EBC. System voltage is less than or equal to 750 volts, typical for buildings and installation, for example, copper versus aluminum. Vaughan, Ontario projects follow OESC, with no unique amendments altering core sizing. ESA bulletins emphasize installation. For example, no splices per Rule 10 to 800, 6, 1. Grounding electrode conductor, GEC. Rule 10 to 812 connects service equipment, neutral, grounded conductor to grounding electrode S. Minimum size sub-Rule 1. Appendix B. Based on service equivalent, ungrounded conductor size, or ampacity, cross-reference tables 1 to 4 for ampacity. General electrodes, rods, plates. Field assembled per Rule 10 to 700. No. 6 AWG. Copper or no. 4 AWG aluminum minimum sub-Rule 2. Common for 200 to 400 A services. Number 4 CU typical, as seen in Ontario residential commercial. Metal water pipe electrodes sub-Rule 1. Sized per Table 16 equivalent ampacity based. Larger for greater than 250 A services. Table 43, minimum size of bare copper conductors for field assembled electrodes. Rule 10 to 703, e.g. number 6, AWG min. For most 6 meters length, buried is greater than or equal to 600 millimeters. Examples: copper, 75 degrees Celsius termination typical. Service ampacity largest conductor, GEC size, CUL, is less than or equal to 200 A. Number 2 zeroths, CU or equiv. Number 6 CU, number 4 AL 201, menos 400 A. 4 cuantos, AL mayor que 400 A. AG, 600 A. Number 3 CU, number 1. No splices, joints. Rule 10 to 806. Must be continuous, insulated or bare. OK. Rule 10 to 116. Copper aluminum permitted. Rule 10 to 112. Ontario notes. ESA Bulletin 10-17-8 requires GEC termination at main neutral bar. 4 meter bases. Rule 10 to 210. Bond 2 service box, if isolated neutral. 2. System bonding jumper conductor. Rule 10 to 614. 10 to 616 bonds, grounded conductor neutral to enclosure panel at source. For example, main panel, transformer XO sized per Table 16 unified table, since 2018 CEC. Replaces old 16A 16B, based on ampere rating setting of upstream overcurrent device OCD protecting ungrounded conductors, see Rule 1, or largest ungrounded conductor ampacity, if no OCD. For example, service, Rule 10 to 616 to Tables 1 to 4 for ampacity, not exceeding columns. For example, is less than or equal to 100 AOCD gives Ochoku and Se Sal. Table 16 excerpt, 2024 CEC, 75 degrees Celsius, copper, aluminum. Full table has more rows, rating of OCD ampacity ACU size, AWG Cocamil, AL size AWG Cocamil. 15 100 number 8 number 6 101 200 number 6 number 4 201 300 number 4 number 2 301 400 number 3 number 1 401 500 number 2 and a zeroth 2000. For example, 2500 A 3 zeroths 40. Transformer circuits. Rule 26 to 256. Primary secondary bonds per Table 16 using primary OCD times V underscore primary per volt underscore secondary ratio. Field installed only factory jumpers may suffice, if rated. 3. Equipment bonding conductors, EBCs, bonding jumpers. Rules 10 to 604 to 10 to 618, sized per Table 16. Rule 10 to 616, same as system bonding, based on OCD ampacity or largest phase conductor. Parallel conductors, size each per Table 16 for single conductor equivalent. Sub-Rule 3. Raceway armor, may substitute if sized equivalently. Rules 10 to 614 to 12 to 1106. Building 2 building feeders. Rule 10 to 710, sized per Table 16 on feeder OCD. Key General Rules. Materials Rule 10 to 112, 10 to 804, copper, aluminum, or other CSA approved, for example. Stainless steel, Me cable sheath. Bare insulated, OK. Protect AL from corrosion, no direct earth contact. Ampacity reference. Use tables 1 to 4 isolated in raceway air at 75 degrees Celsius, 90 degrees Celsius column per terminations. Rule 4004. Derate for greater than 3 conductors Table 5C. Installation Rules 10 to 116, 10 to 806. No splices except irreversible exothermic welds, clamps. 600 mm burial for direct buried, protected from damage, for example, rigid conduit if exposed. Grounding electrodes Rule 10 to 700, influencing GEC, type sizing requirements. Manufactured rods. Plates rod is greater than or equal to 3 m long, 2 rods 3 meters apart. GEC is greater than or equal to number 6 CU. Field assembled bare CU is greater than or equal to 6 to 10 meters, Table 43. Buried is greater than or equal to 600 to 800 millimeters. In situ pipes. Piles is greater than or equal to 6 meters earth contact, 600 millimeters deep. Practical Ontario, Vaughan Application, ESA Enforcement, Residential 200A. Number 6 CU GEC 2 rods plate. #6 CU. Bonding jumper, Table 16, 200A service. Commercial 400A 600 voltios. And Quattro, QHE SC. Check Table 16 for 400 AOCD gives number 3 CU bond. Verify. Use CEC Handbook app. B for examples, for example, B10 to 4 meter base diagrams. ESA Bulletins 10159. 10178, stress meter base bonding number for CU common. And no neutral enclosure contact upstream of service. Changes in 2024 CEC OESC. Simplified AC, grounding Rule 10 to 004. Table 16, unchanged. New D18 for a WGIEC harmonization. For exact project sizing, for example, parallel services, calculate ampacity first, then apply tables. Consult ESA Inspector for Vaughan permits oversizing, for example, number 4 CU standard avoids issues. Sources: SCT 2024 Handbook, ESA Bulletins, Dakota Prep Red Seal Guides, electricalindustry.ca.